Bugungi darsimizda Cambridge 9 Test 2 Passage to analizini ko'rib chiqamiz va bu qismda Young Children's Sense of Identity birinchi navbatda titlni ko'rib olib, nima haqida ekanligini tushunishimiz kerak. Bu qismda Young Children's Sense of Identity, ya'ni yosh bolalarni o'zini anglash hissi va bu psixologiya bo'yicha bo'lishiga ehtimoli juda ham katta. Which paragraph contains the following information? Qaysi paragraflarda quyidagi ma'lumotlar berilgan? Demak, bu qismda matching information, another many you may use any letter more than once. Demak, kamida bitta harfni ikki marta ishlatishimiz kerak bo'ladi. Bizda 6 ta savol bor. Undan keyin esa bizda list of researchers, demak matching researchers bo'lar ekan. Undan keyin esa bizda one word only, summary completion, how children acquire sense of identity. Ikkita paragrafda javoblar beriladigan bo'lar ekan. Va qismda how children acquire sense of identity keywordlarni olib olamiz. Bu juda ham muhim qism bizga. Chunki masalan bu savollarga javob berish uchun asosan biz har bitta qismni o'qish emas, har bitta paragraf o'qigan holda tushunib, keyin esa javoblarni belgilashimiz kerak bo'ladi va bu qismda paragraflarni o'qib tugatganimizda, bu savollarni tugatganimizda bu summary completion uchun yana bir marta qaytib o'qishimizga zarurat bo'ladi agar buni javobini birdaniga topib ketmaydigan bo'lsak va bu odamlarga e'tibor bermaydigan bo'lsak. Shuning uchun ham tekstni o'qish davomida bu savollarga ham javob berishga harakat qilamiz. Xo'p, demak, bu qismda tekstni ikkiga bo'la olamiz. Keyin o'sha ABCDni birga savollarga qarab chiqamiz. EDFG yana bir savollarga qarab chiqamiz. A sense of self develops in young age by degrees. The process can usefully be thought of in terms of the gradual emergence of two somewhat separate features: a sense self as a subject and self as an object. In distinction. As it is developing debate, ever since the psychologists have continued building on this theory. According to James, a child's first step on the road to self-understanding can be seen as a recognition that he or she exists. It's an aspect of the self that he labeled self as a subject, and he gives the various elements. It includes an awareness of one's own agency, power to act, and awareness of one's own distinctiveness from other people. Its features gradually emerge as infants explore their world and interact with caregivers. Coley suggests that a sense of self as a subject was primarily concerned with being able to exercise power. He proposes that the earliest examples of this are an infant's attempts to control physical objects, such as toys or his or her own limbs. This is followed by attempts to affect the behavior of other people. For example, infants learn that when they cry or smile, people respond to them. Interesting. Okay. Another powerful source of information for infants about the effects they can have on the world around them is provided when others mimic them. Many parents spend a lot of time, particularly in the early months, copying their infants' vocalization and expressions. In addition, young children enjoy looking in mirrors when the movement they can see are dependent on their own movement. It's not to say that infants recognize the reflection as their own images. Later development this suggests that infants developing understanding that the movements they see in the mirror are contingent of their own leads to growing awareness that they are distinct from other people. It's because they and only they can change the reflection in the mirror. This understanding that children gain of themselves as active agents continues to develop in their attempts to cooperate with others in play. Dunn points out that it's in such day-to-day relationships and interactions the child's understanding of herself emerges. Empirical investigations of self as subject in young children are, however, rather scarce because of difficulties of communication. Even if young infants can reflect on their experience, they certainly cannot express this aspect of self directly. Demak, bu hozir qisqa analizini qilishga harakat qilamiz. Paragraf A nima haqida bo'ldi? Bu paragraf A sense of self-ni ikkita bo'limga bo'linganligi, B da sense of self-ni self as a subject qismi tushuntirib berilgan, C da information haqida ma'lumot berilgan, bu understanding development haqida ma'lumot berilgan. Keling, sense of identity can never be formed without relationship with other people. Can never be formed haqida ma'lumot o'qimadik hozircha, shuning uchun ham buni hozircha to'xtatib tursak kerak. A child's awareness of self is related to a sense of mastery over things and people. Bu mana such as toys and people is followed by affective people behavior. Demek Coley suggests. Coley'ni ishlatdik demek. B bo'larkan keyingisi. 21 B bo'larkan. Yaxshi. Keyingisi a certain age children sense of identity leads to aggressive behavior haqida ma'lumot o'qimadik. Observing their own reflection contributes to children's self-awareness. Their own reflection. Mana. However, this and Brooks suggest that infants developing understanding that the movement they see in the mirror are contingent on their own, leads to growing awareness they are distinct from other people. Demek bu C bo'larkan. Demek bizda 20-22 qoldi. B bilan C'ni topdik. 4ta paragraf o'qigan holda keyingi qismni o'tamiz. How children acquire sense of identity. First, children came to realize that they can have an effect on the world around them, for example, by handling objects, causing image to move when they face a mirror. Mirror bo'lishi kerak bu javob, menimcha. This aspect of software is difficult to research directly because of communication problems. Difficulties in communication. Demek bu javoblar turli xil qismda bo'lib ketibdi. Start to become aware of how they are viewed by others. One important stage in this process is visual recognition of themselves, which usually occurs when they reach the age of 2. It leads to the development of evidence often linked to a sense of something and lead to disputes. Haqida ma'lumot yo'q hozircha. Keyingi qismda o'qiymiz. Causing the image to move when they face a mirror bo'ladi bu. Mirror bo'lishi aniq. Chunki o'zi bilmaydi, o'zi lekin u prosta mirrorga qaraydi-da, men shuni harakatlantiryapman degan fikrga keladi, xursand bo'ladi shundan. Xo'p, ikkita javobni topdik, 26 ni topolmadik. Bu qismga qaraylik-chi. Don't do it. Oh, come on. An account of the method used by researchers in an account of method, particular study, role of imitation, sense of identity. Imitation. Mimicking. C bo'lsa kerak. The age at which children usually identify a static image of themselves. No. The reason for was the limitation of scientific research into self as a subject haqida ma'lumot bor, demak communication haqida ma'lumot bor. D. Xo'p, shuni tushuntirib ketishim kerak edi, o'zi nimaga javob bo'lyapti. Xo'p. Role of imitation ga oldik, mimic ni oldik, focalization, copying oldik, mana bu ni oldik shu uchun. Limitation of scientific research ga communication difficulties ni oldik. Refers to a possible link between culture and particular form of behavior. No examples of the wide range of features contribute to the sense of self as an object. Objektlarni ko'rmadik, subjektni ko'rdik faqatgina. Xo'p, bizda faqatgina 14 topilmagan, 16 topilmagan, 18, 19 topilmagan. Xo'p, E, F, G, H ni o'qiymiz, keyin javoblarni ko'rib chiqishga harakat qilamiz. Xo'p, once children have acquired a certain level of self-awareness, they begin to place themselves in the whole series of categories, which together play such an important part in defining them uniquely as themselves. Second step in the development of a full sense of self is what James calls the sense of the object. As objects, this has been seen by many to be the aspect of each of the self which is most influenced by social elements, since it's made up of social roles such as student, bars, college, and characteristics which derive their meaning from comparison and interaction with other people. Cooley and other researchers suggest a close connection between a person's own understanding of their own identity and other people's understanding of it. Believes that people build their sense of identity from the reactions of others to them. From their views, they believe others to have them. He calls the self as an object at looking glass selves, since people come to see themselves as they are reflected in others. Mead went even further, saw the self and the social world as inextricably bound together. The self is essentially social structure. It arises in social experience. It's impossible to conceive of a self arising outside of social experience. Interesting. Lewis and Brockens argued that an important developmental milestone is reached when children become able to recognize themselves visually without the support of seeing. Continue moment. This recognition occurs around their second birthday. In one experiment, Lewis and Brooks dabbed some new red powder on the nose of children who were playing in front of a mirror, and then observed how often they touched their nose. Psychologists reasoned if the children knew what they usually look like, they would be surprised by the unusual red mark and would start touching it. On the other hand, they found that 18s are not able to recognize themselves unless other cues such as movement are present. Finally, perhaps the most graphic expression of self-awareness in general can be seen in displays of rage, which are most common years of age. In longitudinal study of groups of 3 or 4 children, Bronson found that intensity of the frustration and anger in their disagreements increased sharply between the ages of 1 to 2. Often, children's disagreement involved a struggle over a toy that none of them had played with before, and after the tug of war, children submit to disputing ownership rather than wanting to play with it. Also, it may be less marked in other societies. The link between sense of self and of ownership is a notable feature of childhood in Western societies. Tushunarliroq bo'ldi. Xo'p, topamiz. Account of method used by researchers in a particular study. Account of method. Demak, powderni eshitgan, mirrorni ishlatgan. O'shani ko'rsatib bersak kerak bu. In one experiment, the powder noises in front of mirror dimension G bo'lsa kerak bu. Keyingiga o'tamiz. The age which can identify static image of themselves. Bu ham G bo'ladi. Second birthday mana. Yaxshi javoblarni topdik. Bo'ldi. And not a banana ham hal qildik. Birga. Xo'p, reference a possible link between culture and vertical behavior haqida ma'lumot ko'rdik. Mana cultural link. Bu H bo'ladi. Example of wide range of features that contribute to sense of self as an object. Bu range of features. Self as an object. Range of features, social roles, compares the interaction of other people characteristics. E bo'lar ekan. Shu bilan bu qismi o'z nihoyasiga yetdi. F ishlatmadi shekilli. Hammaga tushunarli bo'ldi degan umiddaman. Berilgan keywordlarni qayerdanligi chunki o'qib chiqdim. Agar men bu sichqonchani qaysi qismga borayotganligini ko'rgan bo'lsangiz, e'tibor bergan bo'lsangiz, eslab qolishlaringiz tayin. Keyingi qismga o'tamiz. A sense of identity can never be formed without relationship with other people. Haqida ko'rdik. Men bu qismda yozdik. Math, even go further, self-essential structure, the social experience. Demak, bu qismda mid bo'ladi bu. D bo'ladi. Come on. Damn it. Mayli. D bo'ladi, B bo'ladi. A certain children's sense of identity, aggressive behavior, rage. Bronson. U bo'lar ekan. Shu bilan bu qism ham o'z nihoyasiga yetdi. Sizlarga tushunarli bo'ldi degan umiddaman. Tushunarli bo'lmagan bo'lsa, savollar qoldirilishi mumkin. Socialist development of finance linked to a sense of ownership. Shu bilan bugungi videomizga bugungi darsimiz o'z nihoyasiga yetadi. Hamma narsa tushunarli degan umiddaman. Agar tushunarli bo'lmagan bo'lsa, kommentlar qoldirishingiz mumkin. Sana keyingi darsda ko'rishguncha xayr.